Good morning and welcome to Bradford College's podcast. My name's Leah, I'm a personal development officer and I'm here with...
Adrian. Good morning, Leah. Nice to speak to you.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for joining us on our podcast today. So the topic today is drug misuse. So welcome and what brings you here today?
Well, I mean, I'm wanting to express my take on drugs around the area. Do you know what I mean? I feel I've got like a bit of input that I could give out to maybe some younger people today, or even say older people that are taking drugs.
Yeah. So what types of drugs are you aware of? Are you aware of different types of drugs?
Well, yeah. I mean, not personally myself experience, but I have been associated around drugs. Say like maybe Class A drugs, heroin, LSD, cannabis, over the years, which are really strong drugs that are used.
So would you say there's a big concern in Bradford?
I think looking back over years to today, I think there's a real big concern with drugs that's kind of not been noticed. Even drugs you can actually buy over the counter, do you know what I mean?
Medication from the pharmacy. Yeah, sometimes people do get addicted to prescribed drugs as well.
Well, yeah, like your painkillers and stuff like that. But going back to what I said earlier, with the drugs that are now really kind of on the street, cannabis, more relaxed. They seem as more relaxed today for people to be able to smoke, as I said, drop of a hat. So it's becoming the norm, which I believe cannabis, even though...
Why do you think people may result in taking drugs?
Personally, myself, I think it's kind of a get out from what's really going on around them, really. Could be stuff that's going on at home, at school, maybe even at college. Say, for example, if I'm talking about cannabis, a more relaxed drug, it's easier, and from maybe the results that you get from it to relax you. Whereas then you have the other drugs, LSD, speed, cocaine, which give you a high at that time and take you out of reality. So
you feel, in a sense, people may take drugs to help them relax?
I think, yeah, like I've just said, on a scale, to relax, or maybe to have a good night out. As a lot of people, you find that want to escape from a week of hard work, 12-hour shifts, 7 days a week, maybe get one weekend off, so they want to party and take drugs, then it becomes a norm. Whereas on the other side, cannabis, to relax, to take them out of what's going on at home or what's going on at work, make them more relaxed, being able to cope with people, cope with the job.
Yeah, I can see that. So I always think it's probably the best option for people. But we can all understand why there are many different reasons for people to take drugs. Obviously, different things are happening in people's lives, and that's why they may result in taking drugs. But let's talk about the effects that drugs can have on people's lives, because yes, people may take drugs to escape or to relax, to party, but do you think people realise the implications drugs have on people's life, the effects that it can have, like mentally, physically, like, because different forms of drugs have different effects on people's lives? Do you feel, would you say that you felt people understand the effects that it can have on people's life?
I don't think people do. I think education, I think we're really lacking education at home. I think, and it all starts behind closed doors. Families, parents, people, teachers, you know what I mean? I think we need education. I think we're far from that. I think knowing what drugs actually do, some of the drugs that I've named, I mean, what advertisements do we see? What do we see? Where do we see posters? What awareness is there really about drugs? Really, when you're really out there. I mean, I'm going back to my parents. My parents didn't know what drugs were. And my mum still don't know what them kind of drugs are. She prescribed drugs all day long. But no, I think education, I think we need to be starting young. We need to be educating younger people.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there is a lack of education around drugs, and, you know, maybe smoking a bit of weed for someone, they might feel it does relax them or it may help them escape, but where does it stop? So you start smoking a bit of weed, and then do you want something stronger? You know, is the weed affecting you? Where does it stop?
Yeah, well, I don't think it does stop, does it? I think we could just flipping it a little bit. If you've got an addictive personality, and maybe, you know, this could say, for example, smoking cannabis. We know that it plays a part in your brain, on your mind. It's supposed to relax your mind, but then it's got the other way. Do you know what I mean? Where it can make you depressed. Do you lead on to something else? No, you could actually just stay smoking cannabis. But then the inevitable is going to happen. You're going to be secluded, on your own. Family's going to get hurt around you. Where do you go? If you're looking at stronger drugs than that, then obviously harm to yourself, harm to others. When you're on higher drugs, speed, LSD, when you're tripping and you don't know what you're doing, when you're driving a car, how many people drive a car under the influence of alcohol? Do they know what they're doing? No.
Yeah, so I think in Bradford we probably do have a high drug population of people who take and misuse drugs, and, you know, we do have drink drivers in Bradford, which there is a massive stat for that, and drug driving, and I don't think people realise the implication. They might think that they may be taking a small amount of drugs and they can drive a car, but that can lead to bigger things, so it can lead to a disaster, and it's the family that's implicated and left with a death potentially, or someone long-term injured after using the drugs.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a wider effect, isn't it?
It is. It's a massive effect.
It's not just one person. It's like their whole family, and then the friends. It's one person's act or one person's addiction, whether it be cannabis or whether it be the high-end scale drugs, heroin. It all has really the same outcome. Effect to families. Families as a knock-on effect. You know, whichever drug you're taking.
Yeah, totally agree. I think there is a bigger picture in terms of drug misuse, and I think Bradford needs to do something about informing people of all generations, like the misuse of drugs. Would you agree with me? You know?
Yeah.
Would you be interested in a stop drug campaign in Bradford to be run? Like, would you be interested in being a part of that?
I would be, yeah. I mean, I was only thinking, well, it's going through experience and what you see out on the streets. Going back to what I said earlier, and I'm picking up on cannabis, but that seems to be the most, I mean, other than drinking as well, which, you know, it's in Bradford, there's a lot of homeless. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that they're the drinkers, which, far from it, we all have a drink. Everybody likes to have a drink. But you're seeing it more on the streets with the cannabis, stood at a bus stop. How many people out there are experiencing, seeing that, smelling that? It's more and more frequent, and it's a norm. It's everyday life.
Would you say people are more open about smoking cannabis or
definitely,
taking drugs?
Definitely.
In today's society, like, people are just open and not really looking at the implications or looking at how that may affect other people.
Definitely. It's definitely, you know, like, it's just the norm of smoking a cigarette, of vaping. But people, members of the Bradford community, a lot of the people are maybe scared now, which they are, of approaching somebody who's maybe smoking cannabis or having a drink or doing whatever they're doing. It's just become the norm. So what happens when it becomes a norm? People just get used to it and kind of stay out of the way, and then everybody carries on doing what they're doing. And eventually, you've got most people smoking cannabis.
So I would like to thank Adrian for being a guest on our podcast today. And we have another special guest on our podcast today. We have Issaq from the Safeguarding team. So, hi Issaq, thank you for coming in.
Yeah, hi there guys. So my role is the Safeguarding and Wellbeing Officer. So there is a team within college, the Safeguarding and Wellbeing team. So we're here to support students to achieve their full potential and ensure your time here is enjoyable. So we are committed to make sure our learners are safe and protected from harm. This includes supporting you with your mental health and well-being throughout your time at college. We can also support students to access external services, and you can self-refer, or your teacher can make a referral on your behalf. You can contact us on our landline number, which is 01274 088 999, or you can email us at safeguarding@bradfordcollege.ac.uk. If you do need any support with any substance misuse, whether it's drugs or alcohol, you can contact us on the number or the email. We're also based, so the team is based at Hockney building, and we're based on second floor by Central Media. So please do come and see us.
So thank you Issaq for joining us, and thank you again Adrian for being our special guest on today's podcast. Stay tuned for our next episode on mental health.